Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Neil Haley Show. Another exciting week of TV simulcasting with my radio network. Again, go to my website, totaltutor.net, for more information. Twitter, Total Tutor, Neil S. Haley, Facebook, LinkedIn, Neil Haley, Instagram, Total Tutor, and also Pinterest, Neil Haley, and all the different places. And I got to thank Dave Cable over at BPTV for giving me this opportunity to have a weekly television show and have such amazing guests. So far, we've had Miami Book Fair authors, we've had Super Bowl champions, we've had very interesting people that are CEOs, but this will be our first celebrity. So I'm excited to welcome the program Sean Ringgold. He was in Notorious and also One Life to Live and much, much more. Sean, how are you? And thanks for calling the program.
Hey, man, how are you? Good morning. Thanks for having me.
I'm doing fantastic, and I guess we're going to go to the beginning. And always when I have celebrities on or anyone, I want to know about, did you always want to be an actor? Is this something growing up you wanted to do?
Actually, I didn't want to be an actor. I feel that God chose this profession for me. I was the kind of guy, I grew up in Rockaway Beach. I had all types of odd-end jobs in reference to, I was a janitor, I was a car salesman, I was a cab driver. I've done sales and marketing. I did pre-K legal. I did Amway. I did Quickstar. I did anything to make an honest dollar. And one day I ended up doing security. I started working in clubs many, many years ago, going back almost 20 years. And then I got an opportunity to work at BET at a place called 106 in Park.
Okay.
And that was the place that helped nurture my career. That was when, God put his hand on me and said, hey, I have other dreams and aspirations for you. And it's up to you if you want to take heed to what I'm putting you in front of. And from there, it just started. I got on TV one time with, when AJ and Free were the host over there. And from there, I just started taking the signs. I started taking some acting classes because it was fun and easy. And then from there, it's been history, national commercials. From there, One Life to Live in 2006. That was a 6-year contract there. And in between that, there was some national commercials and primetime shows and feature films. And it's been history ever since then. I've been a working actor for almost a decade now.
Well,
very
Sean,
fortunate, very blessed.
Sean, that's tremendous in so many ways to know that story and where you came from next is awesome in so many ways. And I think about, how God leads us in these directions and different things. And I want to back up. I know that you're used to having the quick 4 or 3 minute talking point celebrity type interview.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And that's that's the funny thing about it in so many ways. Sean, is just learning specifically what's happening and how we develop as actors and things like that. So growing up, you said, so you learned to really learn how to make a nice dollar. Growing up, did you grow up in what kind of family background did you grow up in, Sean?
I grew up in a blue-collar family background. My mom was a teacher in Far Rockaway in a New York City public school system for almost 30 years. She just retired 3 years ago. My father was an electrical engineer and also worked, at Quotron. He worked at, trying to remember some of these, Quotron. There was another couple of different companies he worked at, got laid off, and then, he's now working with TSA. Just a blue-collar family, hardworking, respectable family, Catholic, raised. And I grew up in Rockaway Beach, right across the street from the beach. And I have to give my family and also where I was brought up, credit for me being who I am and what I've been able to accomplish, because I grew up in a very diversified neighborhood where you had Irish, you had Italians, blacks, Spanish. It wasn't just one, ethnicity. It was many different cultures, and you learned many different areas of lifestyle, which made me very well-rounded. Because in the acting business, you would agree, you have to be a very well-rounded person, because I've learned you can have a great amount of talent, but if you're very sheltered and you don't know how to get along with people, a cast is not going to want to work with you.
No, not
Producers
at all.
aren't going to want to work with you. My friend told me one time, he said it's like, 60%, he said 40% talent, 60% likability. people just wanting to like to be around you, and the rest just falls into place. You know, because a lot of times in this business, you don't have to be the best actor, but if you're liked and you're good at what you do and you get along with a cast of people,
Right.
you can get more opportunity, and they will want you to be around because you bring out the best in them. You don't have to be the best at everything. You dig it?
Yeah, no, I dig it, and I see that how important family life was for you, and how in your family background, your mom being a teacher, that you saw education is also an important thing for you, right, as well, Sean, right?
Absolutely. Education was very important, but more than anything, I saw my mother giving back and helping and learning how to be a good listener and just helping people who are in need. Just to be a caring person, I get those qualities a lot from mom. And I would definitely say, like I said, my background has a tremendous amount to do with where I'm at in my life currently, and also, you know, the charity works and things that I do currently. It's because of, you know, my background and, you know, how I was raised. And I'm very, very fortunate. A lot of people don't have, you know, we didn't have all the money in the world, but I was grateful that I wasn't, you know, I wasn't on the public assistance or anything.
Yes.
But there are people who grew up with much worse circumstances than I could have even ever imagined. And I just always say to myself, I'm very fortunate to have been blessed with what I have.
So I see that the work ethic that you have had, Sean, growing up, learning that mentality of work's an important thing, and it's something I should do, and you were trying all these different things, and you ended up in security, kind of like myself, Sean. I don't know if your publicist let you know this, that I was a former professional wrestler, and I was a bouncer in many different clubs. That's how I met my wife. So, and now I'm educated. Yeah, so it's a funny thing. I mean, I did TV once for the WWF, but I worked overseas and wrestled a lot of the big time people, and so I'm always having that thought is someday again the acting bug. But again, time right now, focusing on my entrepreneurial business, but I'm so glad I'm back into the entertainment side of things, because entertainment is definitely something, and it's an art, and it's such a phenomenal thing. So when you were at BET, so that pretty much was because of you being in security. People said, you know what, this guy can do more than that, right? Is that what happened pretty much? Because I'm trying to get...
I'll give you the breakdown. I was working in the clubs. The clubs can get quite crazy.
We know that.
The man upstairs, when I tell you I listened to that voice and that spirit that talks to me, I was like, you know what, before I get in trouble by hurting somebody, because back in those days you weren't very diplomatic. You had to get physical with people for them to understand, I need you to do this. I've learned the art of verbal judo these days, because, I mean, I don't do security anymore, but you had to learn how to, you know, diffuse problems with your mouth and talking and using creative ways to have people do what you need them to do without physically touching them. And I just said to myself, it was getting crazy. I was working in different areas in New York City and Long Island. I said, I need to go to a more upscale area. That's when I went to Manhattan. And then from there, I ended up, a friend of mine, right after 9/11, said, I got an opportunity for you at BET. And there is where everything started to change, because I saw how professionals acted. I started reading some executive protection books. Started ordering some custom suits, because I said to myself, if you're going to, you know, be in this genre, you need to be of it. You need to look the part, speak the part, and remember, people like people that are like themselves. So I just said, let me just start doing the right things, and not everybody gets the opportunities that I did, but it was, I believe, the way I guess I carried myself, and it was an art. It wasn't luck. There was some luck, but I worked hard to stand out and to be funny and creative. And from there, you have to remember, BET, everyone, it's a very lucky place to work. Anyone who has ever had the blessing of working at BET can understand that you are working, at that time, was like one of the number one shows in that time genre. And every star, actors, rappers,
came on the
pop
show.
stars would come to us. We didn't have to go to them. We didn't have to look. So I'm talking, I've met everybody, and then certain people would see me on the floor, you know, on the studio floor, if I was doing escorts from, you know, their vehicles downstairs up to the green rooms. Just that short, brief interaction, they would hand me their cards and, hey, are you available to go on tour with me? You know, we're interested in working with you, just by the way that I would engage them. So that was, that was such a blessing that many people don't get.
No.
Because you get to interact with people that are coming to you. You're not trying to go and seek them. They're coming to your place of business, so you have that opportunity to shine where they could hand you their information, say, hey, are you open to working with us? Because they like the way, that you work.
Exactly.
And they usually have big pockets.
And because you were dressing professionally and you were working security over BET, they said, you know what, I want you to be the kind of person that is not going to, it's going to be intimidating looking, but yet be very professional. And I could take with me in different specifics and being a bodyguard to the stars. And I didn't know if you were going to mention that in the interview or not, but I did some research on you, Sean. I saw that. And so you did do that working as a bodyguard. But at that point, did people say to you, like they wanted to help you out and say, oh my gosh, maybe you could do more? Maybe you could also act?
You know what?
Yeah.
This might blow your mind, man. None of the clients that I've ever worked for, represented, never offered me an opportunity, nor did I ever ask. A lot of them, remember, they're at A-list status. You're not on their radar, meaning that they're doing such big things in relation. Like I was on a soap opera and I was still doing security until 2009.
Wow.
And I've worked with some very prominent, people and families in the entertainment business. They're at such another realm that most people who are very busy acting don't even have the time to watch TV.
No, I know.
Watch,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Netflix, like they don't even know certain actors who are really known famous actors. They'll walk up to them and hey, how you doing? But not even know who they are because they're in their own world working hard and being very busy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's very interesting when you talk to these very, very busy, successful actors and different things. You're right. They're not watching the TV shows. The reality stars aren't watching other reality shows. They're not even hip in pop culture. So it's definitely like that, Sean. So basically you were observing them while doing the bodyguarding and seeing specifically, you said you didn't even consider it. So tell us, and when we get back, Sean, because we're going to have to take a break, when we get back, I really want to learn specifically how you became an actor. When it said, you're a bodyguard of the stars, you're hobnobbing with the interesting people, you're seeing the type of crazy schedule, but how you made your shift. You said you were on security with the soap opera, so there's got to be an interesting story to it. But then we also want to look about your philanthropic work and all that stuff.
I can break it down for you really quick.
Okay.
Let me know when we're back.
Well, that's not a problem, Sean. Again, you're watching the Neil Haley Show, and this will definitely be used on the Total Celebrity Show as well. Sean Ringgold and learning his story on the Neil Haley Show. Go to my website, totaltutor.net, to check out more information, and tweet me at Total Tutor for questions and different things. We'll be back in just a moment.
Thanks to your generosity, Marines have delivered Christmas to children in need since 1947.
We're back to the Neil Haley Show and also simulcasting on the Total Education Network. And I'm talking to celebrity actor Sean Ringgold, bodyguard of the stars we learned about in the first part of the episode. And it's really quite interesting to look at these things. I'm really going to focus a lot of my interviews with celebrities on questions that lots of them don't ask. They get these quick soundbite questions about how they made it, but I really want to know Sean's story, and it's so interesting and how positions and certain things. In a couple weeks, Darnell Dinkins will be coming back, Super Bowl champion, and his story is very interesting because he had to go to the Arena League. He didn't go straight to the NFL. So everyone has their story. So Sean, you're basically bodyguard to the stars, and then you're also on a soap opera security. How did that first acting break occur?
Okay, the first real. Well, I was at BET for about 3.5, almost 4 years. The original host left the show. So, they were implementing me into the show that was really kind of, starting not to work out. So I had made a decision. I said, wow, I have to leave.
Right.
And like you say, that you never know what God has in store for you.
Never.
Before you know it. And I was also doing professional arm wrestling. I used to be very good. I used to be what we call a national champion. You can see all that stuff on the internet. So I met my agent back at, I think it was, I can't even remember what year. It's like 2003 or 2000, I think it was 2004. I met my agent, and he put me out on an audition. This is very weird. Like, what happened to me was a sign from the man upstairs saying that, you know how hard it is to usually book national commercials? Some people are happy if they do one or two every 2 or 3 years.
Yes.
I booked 3 national commercials in like a month and a half.
Wow.
And it was and I had never gone out on an audition. My first audition I went out for was for Burger King. And I went out for this commercial. I had no idea what these things pay or anything like that. And I was still doing security at that time. At that time, when I booked and I did, what was it, the Burger King commercial, I was working security for 50 Cent doing Get Rich or Die Trying, that movie.
Yeah.
And I was, working for the studio at that time. And I got called for this audition. I went into the audition, and they liked me, so it was something that they do is called a callback. Then you have to do a callback for them to meet with the producers, and I wasn't available. I was working on a security set. I didn't know that when these people call you back,
you
need to be there. So I go there. I come back the next day. My boss let me take a little time off from the movie. Went in there, booked the commercial. That was my first national commercial. So while I'm doing that, I went out 2 weeks later for a Boost Mobile with Fat Joe. I booked that commercial. And if you guys want to see all my commercials on SeanRingo.com, all the commercials I booked, everything is on there. Then from there, I booked the Dunkin' Donuts commercial. I was like, my agent looked at me like, this is crazy. And I started to see the kind of money that comes in. I was beside myself, but I still had to keep working a job before I started hitting some real major, because you don't know when it's ever going to run out. Some products go 3 to 6 months, some, longer than others, some shorter than others. And then from there, I just said, you know what, I'll do this part-time, I'll do my security, and I'll do my acting. And in 2006, it got a little bit iffy because I booked the role on One Life to Live for under 5 lines. And over a period of time, I started really getting it. They started nurturing me. And the reason they were looking for a bodyguard to bodyguard one of the villains on the show was a bad guy. And I said to myself, I was so tired. I'd already worked an overnight shift with the client. I stumbled on my lines, and I told the casting director, I said, look, honey, I'm so sorry, but this bodyguard thing that you're looking for a character, I am the character. I live this life. You can go and Google my name. You can look at all my information. Yeah. I do this. I can do this with my eyes closed. I said, I'm your guy. So I'm sorry I messed up on a couple of 5 lines, but this is nothing for me. Got a call back an hour later from my agent. You booked the role of Sean, the bodyguard on One Life to Live. And then from there, they nurtured me. And then, I was there for 6 years. And as they built a family around me, and I went from learning under 5 lines to sometimes being able to remember 50 pages of dialogue with stage direction.
Oh, my.
And while I was still there until 2009, when I booked the movie Notorious, I played Suge Knight, that's when I officially retired doing security, because I was so busy with acting, I was falling short on my responsibilities as a bodyguard, and people were starting to look at me sideways because I wasn't available to be there on time, where I would put someone else in my place. And when you build relationships with certain celebrities, they only want you to be there because it's all about trust.
Yes.
So I had to 2009, after my Notorious premiere, I dropped my client off at Teterboro Airport. And it was the last time I had done security in my life. And I just made a commitment to the universe. I said, this is it. I mean, you put this opportunity before me. I have to put the time and effort to make it, continue to have it flourish. And it's been a blessing. There's some ups and downs in this business. Don't get it twisted. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a work in progress. Like, people see the glory Do they truly see the story? Do they see the struggles? Do they see the ups and the downs? You know, only people see is the success on TV.
Right.
So then they're like, oh, my God, you made it. 1 or 2 commercials doesn't mean that you made it. People don't understand that, you know, but, you know, a body of work over a good period of time or a good show, you can consider making it because you can take that income and really sustain yourself for quite some time if you budget correctly.
To be a working actor, Sean, it's a challenge. And so from now becoming a full-time actor, take us a little bit into that, but then I want to get into your philanthropic work. So basically, a lot of people don't understand that a working actor is shooting commercials, a working actor is doing certain scenes in movies, different things. So right after that, what did you do after Notorious? Give us some of the other stuff you've done since then.
Oh, wow, on my resume. After Notorious, I did a movie called The Smurfs in 2011. In between, I did some primetime shows. I did like 3 Law and Orders. And people understand, like, I only worked one day. I did like quick guest star roles. And people don't understand, like, major shows, the residuals, they really kick butt. They're really great. So it's like you can work if you work a week on a good primetime show that has huge numbers like Law and Order, do you understand that it can pay, it's like a salary for a year?
Wow.
Just they're like, once you shoot it, and then the residuals, if it's a good show like an SVU or when Criminal Intent was around, like the money that just kept coming in, I'm like, geez, you can't be for real. So some people who are fortunate to work on a show for 3 or 6 months, it's very lucrative. But the key is once you start working and people get to see your work and they like what you do, it's not hard anymore to really get that much work. You know, once you're out there and like you have some things, you have a buzz, or you start to get known, it's easier. You have relationships with casting directors, show up on time, you do your job, you're not late, you get along with people, and that's it, and you have fun doing what you do. You know, but then there are times where it does, you know, get slow, but I've learned for myself is God, I feel, has totally structured my career where I'm like, you know what, I have faith. Right now I'm at the Dr. Scholl's commercial, which is the #1, you know, custom fit orthotic commercial of all time. It's had over almost 9,400 national areas, and it's been running for 14 months. 14 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's you know, they have 4 different versions of it. I could not have asked God for anything more. But one thing, what people don't understand and see is from 2006 to 2011, I did not book one commercial.
Oh,
think about that for a second. I went out for tons of commercials.
You're gonna get those rejections, Sean, and that's.
Oh yeah, like you get shut down. You get shut down. People. That's why a lot of people don't step into this business, because it truly shows what you're made of, and you continuously get no.
You just gotta you gotta keep auditioning and then find those big roles. So, and from that process, you did all those different things. I know you could go through, going to your IMBD, you could see different things. Google, you go to your website, SeanRingold.com. You also could find info. But here's the one thing, Sean. Let's talk about why you're now giving back. Tell us what you're doing philanthropically right now.
I've been working with HeartShare Human Services for the last 4 years. They work with kids here in the New York and tri-state area who have different, whether it's physical disabilities, mental disabilities, and they provide housing, medical assistance. They do. You guys go to HeartShareHumanServices.com. They can give you a full breakdown. But what I did with them thus far is I was helping run a mentorship program in Brooklyn called the Surfside Manor Mentorship Program. And I would work with the kids once a week for about, I think I worked with them for 6 months. And through that, we took them, just to get them out of their neighborhood in Brooklyn where they didn't have much money. They never really traveled outside of the city. We taught them dining etiquette. We took a lot of the kids. We went, I taught them, I was able to implement things that I wanted to do. They were so nice to give me the platform, and they gave me the budget to do what I wanted to do. So I took them snowboarding up the Camelback Mountain in Pennsylvania. I have video of that on my website if you go into charity. I took them. We went ice skating. Because I ice skate, I used to play hockey in Rockaway. I played left wing on the Rockaway Rockets for a little bit.
Oh, wow.
So I know how to ice skate. So they're like, look at this big black guy ice skating. This is crazy. So I got that on the website. They cracked up. They're like, you played hockey? I'm like, yeah, baby. I taught the kids that. Just gave them experiences that they normally would not have growing up where they did. What else did we do? We went to Gargiulo's. That's where we did the dining etiquette. We went paintballing. Laser tagging. And we did all types of leadership programs where we had to teach the kids how to work together instead of, fighting against each other, and just teach them, patience, respect for one another. It's so really important. Hard because of the stuff that's going on in the schools. It's really, challenging. I have them one day a week for only sometimes 2.5 to 3 hours, and then they have to go back into that environment. It's very, very challenging. You can't save all of them, but you can do the best you can to make a difference. If you make a difference in 1 or 2 people's lives, you did some good. You
definitely did some good, Sean, and you should be commended for doing that and giving back and continuing. We got about a minute left. Any new projects you could speak about right now, Sean?
Yeah, actually, I'm shooting a new project on Sunday with the director, Captain Phillips. The name of the short movie is called Burning Down. I'm playing the role of Ed. I'm playing the father of an autistic child.
Oh, wow.
And I'm just diffusing a situation at a school that we'll be working on. I got one scene in that. I'm also shooting a feature film called No More Mr. Nice Guy. We already shot half of that about a month ago. And I'm working with Christian Keys, Miguel Nunez, Lamont Rucker.
Okay.
Erica Hubbard, some really good actors and actresses. And I'm playing a bad guy, avenging the death of my brother. I was locked up in jail, and it's my first really real action-packed shooting guns, getting into fights. Wow. It's a lot of action. They've given me a lot of range to, exercise my chops, and really blessed with the opportunity. I can't wait for it to come out. And that, I have to finish that movie up in December in L.A. We'll finish that up over there. So from there, I'm just doing the best I can to continue to keep auditioning, getting my face out there, keep cutting my weight, be positive, and keep that before me. And he will continue to provide. He always has, and he doesn't get you to where you are now to then say, I'm going to pump the brakes and stop your career. He'll put you through some challenges to make sure you'll be ready for what's to come.
Well, Sean, the bottom line is you keep being a working actor, you're going to get that break. And you never know when that is, meaning the one that's going to be that hit TV show. Like, I guarantee if you look on some of these shows that are hit shows, they were nobodies till, think of Modern Family. Look at the actors who are nobodies in Modern Family or Blackish. You just never know when those opportunities come. So SeanRingold.com to find more information on you, Sean. Great talking to you, man, and we'll talk soon, okay?
I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for having me on your show, buddy.
All right, take care. All right, that was Sean Ringgold, and great show. Again, go to my website, totaltutor.net, and you see celebrities and the struggles they go through in their careers. And we really try to tell a journey and a story. I love to have 2 segments with celebs or authors because we learned so much about them. So next week, another great guest on the Neil Haley Show, and you also can check it out simulcast on totaltutor.net. Take care, everyone. Good day, everyone.